Okay, so we're looking at an IELTS pattern for the general training. So we're doing the formal pattern letter. So remember, when you're writing formally in English, we want to use a lot of our modal verbs. Okay, so when I say modal verbs, do you know what I mean? Could you, would you, okay? You know, so you're always asking in a sort of, that's how you ask people to do things in a polite way, okay? And then you're also always saying things in a way that allows that you might have made a mistake. I was looking at your website. And it seemed like these shoes were available in red, but you only sent me a black pair. Could you check? Or could you check my order? Okay, so it's kind of being roundabout you're giving them the opportunity that maybe they didn't make a mistake and maybe you were the one that made a mistake. So it's kind of like being very sort of careful about that. Is how you formally ask for someone for something in English. Would you mind doing this? Would it be possible? Okay. And then you use phrases like thanks in advance, or thank you in advance is something people are using a lot in emails nowadays. Okay. In a sort of way of trying to sort of sound polite. Okay, so let's look at the topic. You've recently bought a product after seeing a company's advertisement. You then discovered that the purchased product did not match the description of the advertisement. Oh no, write a letter to the manager of that company. I can say for now, I've never returned anything in my whole life. If I bought something and it wasn't correct, I just keep it. I'm too embarrassed to try and return things. I hate returning things. So in real life, I would never write this letter. I would just keep whatever it was. Okay, so write a letter to the manager. So describe the product you bought, state the description of the advertisement that gave the products. Okay, so this is nice comparing. Okay, so what they really want you to do is they want you to compare what you saw and what they said it was going to be like. Say what you want the company to do to make it up to you. Okay, so what do you want them to do? This is something that you could actually do in real life, calling out a company on Twitter or something. Okay, so let's see what this candidate's written. I am writing this letter to complain to you about the shoes which I ordered from your company. So you order from someone, ordered from your company. I ordered from a restaurant close by to me. I ordered from an online store. Okay, so the shoes which I ordered from your company, the product was not what I had been expecting in functional aspects. So I felt discontented and disappointed. Okay, so this is awkward to read. It's the wrong vocabulary choice. So the product was not what I had been expecting in functional aspects. This is so scientific. We would never say this in real life. The product was not what I had been expecting in any way. Okay, this is still quite formal because you're kind of angry because they've done something wrong. So this product was not what I had been expecting in any way. Or in any aspect. So I felt discontented. It's kind of too weak and disappointed. Okay, so what I probably would phrase if I was writing this kind of letter. So the product was not what I had been expecting in any way. And I feel very disappointed. With the service of this company. Okay, well, you can maybe say something which I was shocked to see, as I am a regular customer of your brand. That would all sound a little bit more natural than to say I felt discontented. Discontent is not really used in this situation. And it's kind of an old-fashioned word, so it's really not common to use discontented nowadays. So let's see what else they say. I purchased these, remember shoes, I purchased these leather hiking shoes after watching your company's commercial on TV. In the show, the host explained that this item had a waterproof function. This item was waterproof. You are either a waterproof or you're not waterproof. A waterproof function feels like you press a button and like Batman, the shoes become waterproof. This item was waterproof, so would be useful in the rain. In addition, she also said there was a non-slip patch on the bottom of the shoes, and that they would be safe in any environment. However, when I went hiking in these shoes, I got an injury because of the defect that the shoes had. So I would say I got an injury because the shoes were too slippery to walk on rocks without a rope. Furthermore, my feet got fully wet, even though there was only a delicate pouring. Okay, I'm just laughing because it's a very strange way to phrase that. And it's not a fault of the candidate at all, because I can see that this, it's a paraphrase of what they were trying to say. But we would say naturally, even though there was only a light rain. And then I would move this defect part to the end. So furthermore, my feet got fully wet, even though there was only a light rain, which appears to be a severe defect of the shoes. Okay, maybe I would phrase it kind of like that. Okay, so I mean they've hit sort of the first two criteria. They described what they bought, and they've said how it's different from the advertisement. I think they could make more of the comparison. Okay, in terms of sort of linking words. But I think what they've done here is pretty good, and they've come up with a pretty believable problem with the shoes. The main issue is with the vocabulary they're using here, which is not appropriate to the context. Just because this candidate is doing what a lot of students do, which is you're sort of using dictionary brain, where you're using sort of Naver or something to search for like what's the most fancy sounding or formal word without really understanding the nuance and when that word would be used. And so what I would advise for this candidate to do is just do a lot more reading. The more you read in English, especially of formal text and informal texts, the more you get like a natural feeling for when we use these types of words and when we use these types of phrases. Just making a list of words from the dictionary doesn't help you understand the context of when and where we use these words. So I always tell my students, if you want to get better at using this vocabulary, do a lot more wider reading. Read websites, read blogs, follow people on social media who post in English. Okay, and then that's going to help you get a feel for the context in which people use these types of words and vocabulary. And that's going to help you get a feel for it, because it's not any student's fault for you finding a dictionary and putting in the word. Technically, yes, discontent does mean unhappy. So I felt unhappy, okay? But in this context, discontent isn't really used for this kind of situation where you've bought something. The feeling of it to a native speaker is wrong. Okay, so that's what this candidate really needs to work on in terms of their vocabulary. So at the end, I feel that under the circumstances, the advertisement should be rearranged, and I should be provided with a full refund. And I would like, so I should be provided, and I would like to request a full refund. Yours faithfully, Mr. William James. Okay, I think this is also fine. So I think in terms of task achievement, they completed most aspects of the task. So I would probably give them a 6.5 for task achievement. Cohesion and coherence, they use paragraphing. Linking could be a little bit stronger, so probably 6.0. Vocabulary is probably down at sort of like a 5.5, maybe a 5.0. I mean, it was adequate for the task, but there was poor use of some word choices that made it more difficult to understand what they wanted to say. And then grammar, I'd also put down at a 5.5. I think there was quite a few sort of mistakes in sentence structure and tense and some plurals. So I really think that they can work on that a lot. So I'd say overall probably coming out at 6.0 to be fair overall. They can really improve on their grammar and vocabulary. I think those are the two areas this candidate really needs to work on. And like I said, with vocabulary, it's just a case of reading in your free time, not just IELTS like practice material, but reading natural things out there. There's lots of websites that will give you the news in English or, things like that. And I think that can be really helpful to improve your vocabulary.